This is Jeff Altgilbers. It's Monday mentoring call that we're doing right now, June 16th. Glad you're able to make this, and if you hear this overseas, it could be Tuesday, Wednesday when it's finally posted. Either way, I'm glad that you're taking the time to be able to spend some time and learn how to grow in this business. I learned a long time ago that our business will only grow as big as we are inside. And if we're growing inside, if we're contributing to other people's lives, well, it's going to certainly show in our business. And that's the important thing here, is that we want you to be able to do that, to be able to act out your growth in your organization and become successful. That's really the purpose of these mentoring calls. And so I'm excited to be able to spend some time with you and share with you some things that are happening in my business and what's going on around the world. I just came back not too long ago from being overseas in Asia for 16 days and went to Jakarta, Indonesia, spent time in Hong Kong, and then finally the Philippines. There's a lot going on with For Life Research, but I also, had the chance to spend some time with some of the corporate leaders and Dr. Chris Lockwood. Boy, that was incredible, just to be able to spend time with him and understand his feelings and where he wants to go in terms of our products. Certainly, we're not looking to replace what got us to where we are in terms of Transfer Factor Plus and Transfer Factor. In fact, he wants to enhance that journey. But he wants to do it with products that will be patented. And he wants to, bring out ingredients that have never, ever been launched before in the history of nutritional science. So just to listen to him talk and all that, and if you haven't seen that video, just look for it on the IMT channel where I do a sit-down with him in Hong Kong. I just saw it as an opportunity while we had so much time together. I thought, a lot of For Life people really don't understand who Dr. Chris Lockwood is. They need to really know who he is and get a sense of the kind of future that you're going to have in network marketing. The very thing that attracted me to For Life Research was the fact that they have proprietary products, patented products that was exclusive to a network marketing company. And that's almost unheard of. And yet, we are going to see that this man is going to unveil a lot of things at our next convention. Maybe possibly 7 products that he'll be coming out with. Keep in mind, his PhD is in physiology, where Cal McCausland's was in chemistry. It's a world of difference. And with Chris's PhD in physiology, everything to do with the body, right? How important that is. And this man has been involved with the working with different celebrities, still does, but in the past, Sylvester Stallone, he would meet with them twice a week, as well as other celebrities that he's been involved with, Arnold Schwarzenegger and so many others. It's incredible, his background, and yet he decided that he wanted to find a home, and he chose For Life Research. We're really blessed, my friends, and when you see the products that he's going to be introducing in the future, what that's going to mean to you is residual income, solid residual income. And you're going to see more and more people wanting to join you, your business, your team, because of the fact that we have such unique products. That was one thing that really hit home with me on the trip that I made. And if you haven't had a chance to see the sit-down talk where I do with him, you can go to the YouTube IMT channel and look at that video. One thing that I wanted to talk about was the subject of leadership character. And what is the difference, between being a leader or leadership and leadership character? And just briefly, I'm going to touch on some notes. And I'll encourage you to read a book, too. I enjoyed it. It's called The Heart of Leadership by Mark Miller. I think he did an excellent job of writing this book. But one thing that, when we think about it, leadership is everything in network marketing. It's everything. When we're wanting to build an organization that would go to the so-called Super Bowl, the Super Bowl of our dreams, whether we're going to want to achieve the level of gold or platinum in this company, it's going to take the right kind of team to get you there, isn't it? We can't get there with people who are half-hearted. We've talked about that in the past. We need to seek out people who want more for their lives, people that are, that have a self-employment attitude, people that want to experience success. I mean, they want it bad. So those are the type of people that we are going to build with. But to build a super team, I mean, one that performs so well, it's really going to start with us. We talked about the we factor in the past. Remember that? That, the greatest thing in for-life research is not transfer factor. It's the we factor. It's you. It's you. It's what you bring to the table. Because at the end of the day, when you sell this opportunity, what they're buying is you. They don't know anything about transfer factor. They don't. But they get a sense as to what you are as a leader. And that's what attracts them. Now, what we want to do is build on that. We want to build on that. That's the important thing. And so when we talk about leadership character, I'm just going to read one quote, and it's out of this book. He said, I'll let you in on a little discussed fact about leadership. As important as the skills are, lack of skills is not what derails most leaders. Skills are too easy to learn. If you want to predict people's ultimate success as leaders, evaluate not their skills, but their leadership character. You notice he said leadership character, didn't say leadership abilities. And so that's an important place to start in this conversation, is to talk about the differences. Because when we talk about leadership skills and we talk about leadership character, leadership skills is about 10% of what we do. You could be a great orator. You could speak. You could impress people on stage. Maybe you can present the plan very well in a very skillful way to show people, how they can earn substantial money very quickly with for-life research. So those are skills. Now, those are needed. We're not saying they're not needed. They are needed. But 90% of what is going to determine whether you win or lose is going to be your leadership character. And that's different. We're not talking about skills. Sometimes, people just get confused in terms of understanding really what that is. But when we talk about, for example, when we talk about leadership in the sense of, I guess in a traditional way, it really has to do with me, or it has to do with you. In the old traditional day, it's what we bring to the table. It's who we are. It's all about us. But that has shifted, hasn't it? I've watched how that has shifted over the years in network marketing. It has shifted in the sense that now that's no longer a model that's useful. It's no longer a model that we can use today to motivate people. When we talk about leadership character, and we ask somebody to define it, some people might say, well, a person with leadership character would be honest, loyal, dependable. That's leadership character. Well, as he goes on to mention in his book that I enjoyed, he said, of course you need these traits, but they're not enough. These are foundational traits. What we're looking for is something that's going to go beyond that, my friend. For example, when he talks about leadership in the book, he says that leaders are different. It's a vague way of describing it in a way, but they're distinct. Leaders are distinctive, people with leadership character. Again, you can have these qualities: honesty, loyalty, being dependable, integrity. But I'm going to assume that everybody on this call and everybody that's listening to this call already has that. In other words, we are all those things. We're dependable. We have integrity. That is, we live up to what we believe and what we tell others. And we're loyal, maybe dependable. But if we are all those things, if we are the same, in what way are we distinct? What is the distinctive character of leadership character? And that's the key, and that's what we're looking for. And in his book, just to cut to the chase, it's a southern term, to cut to the chase here, the important thing here is becoming a servant leader. A servant leader. Do you realize, and some of you may not be Bible readers, but you can appreciate this point. But actually in the Bible it does teach that a person can be righteous and not good. He can be righteous and good for nothing. The Apostle Paul speaks of that. And what do I mean? That means he can do all the right things. He can live according to God's laws and still do nothing good for others. That's true. He can obey all the commandments, but still, as far as showing love, reaching out, helping people, he's good for nothing in that area. So the kind of person God wants is he wants somebody that's righteous and good. He really wants that. In leadership character, it really comes down to that. It comes down to not only having those foundational qualities of loyalty, integrity, things like that, but also our willingness to reach out and help others. I mean, isn't that what made Jesus so famous? Certainly it is. And it's nothing we graduate from. That's the thing. When we talk about leadership character, it doesn't come a day that we just graduate and we're done. I'm not done. He makes a good definition, or he makes a statement, not a definition, but a statement of this reality. And I'm going to quote it. He says, what I need to tell you is that forming, transforming, or reforming character is difficult, extremely difficult, but it's not impossible. Now I'll say that again. What I need to tell you is that forming, transforming, and reforming character is difficult, extremely difficult, but it's not impossible. Really, that's well said. Because again, we don't graduate. What happens is when we start getting content in our growth, then we start going back the other way. You know, the old saying, when you're ripe, you're rotten. It's true. It really is true. Once we start thinking it has to do with skills and things like that, then we've really lost it. So how do we do that? How do we develop that character? Well, again, think others first. That's the key. We have to look into our group. And we have to ask ourselves, questions and, who needs help? What can I do? What can I do to help leaders in my organization? we have to realize that, when servant leadership is about honoring people and acknowledging the value that each of our team plays, all our team leaders play. We don't want to just give them the hope that they can succeed. We want to help them get there. And we want to affirm our belief in all our leaders that they're worthy of this, that they can do this. We help them rise to a standard that before they never believed possible. But because of our nurturing attitude, we really help them see that they can do it. And when they do it, well, then they know they can do it. They know they can grow and go. They know they can become the kind of leader that they've always wanted to be. And they're going to imitate you because you're developing. I didn't say developed, right? Because, again, we don't graduate. You're developing leadership character because you're putting other people first. How do we do that? One thing, again, certainly I talked about looking into our organization. But let's face it, you're going to need mentors too. I said mentors, not just one. We're going to have several mentors in our lifetime, people that we identify with in this area. And those kind of leaders we want to seek out. And seek out, what I mean is, some of them might be a celebrity or something like that, or they might be famous, and like different authors that you might enjoy. Well, certainly buy their books and listen to their cassettes, whatever, their audio programs. You can do all that. But you can seek out those leaders and then listen to them. We all have mentors. I have several, and hopefully I'll have more in my lifetime. And by the way, they might be in your downline. That's right. Just because we are an upline that has a downline, that doesn't mean we're a better leader. We're not. See, some people get it in their head that, I got to have a title to lead. I cannot lead before I have a title. And they may have it in their head that I got to be at least a presidential, before I lead. So they'll just come in, maybe it's a local meeting, and they'll sit and take a chair. No. I promise you'll never get to presidential if you don't start acting like one. You'll never get to International Diamond if you don't start thinking like one. You'll never get to Gold International Diamond if you don't believe it and see it and feel it. And you'll never get to Platinum if you don't get in that process. It all begins there. That happens first before the pin. Before they put a pin on you. You look at some of the greatest heavyweight champion boxers in the history of boxing. Let me ask you. I don't even know who's the greatest right now. I haven't kept up with it. But when he becomes the heavyweight champion, what kind of person was he before he was recognized in the ring? He was that person. The only difference was he was recognized in the ring, so he got the title. Prior to that, he was that same person. But I promise you, if he wasn't that person, he would have never got in the ring and won. Get in the ring and win. Start leading now. Develop your leadership character now. Don't wait until you get the pin. We have some great leaders in our company, For Life Research, that do not have a high pin rank. They will later. They're undiscovered in that sense. They will later. But when they get it on stage, then people recognize them then, don't they? You know what? When it comes to your leaders, recognize them as they are now and encourage them to develop that. he makes a point in the book, the heart is a muscle, and you strengthen muscles by using them. The more I lead with my heart, the stronger it gets. The more I lead with my heart, the stronger it gets. So then how do we do that? Again, we do it by practicing, don't we? Simple things. Simple things. A new person moves into your neighborhood. You think, man, I should go over there and greet them. Well, don't think about it. Go do it. Go over there and introduce yourself. Shake their hand and make them feel part of the neighborhood. You might say, Jeff, that's New York. This is New York City, man. Well, hey, come on. Be outrageous. Isn't that what they do there? But just do it. Or if you're on a plane, the overhead bin, you see a woman struggling to put a piece of luggage up there. Jump up there, guys or gals. Help them put it up in that overhead bin. See, again, it's practice, practice, practice. It reminds me of what I said to my brother one time when I was just getting started this, and I was showing him my printout in my organization. He said, don't you try to get me into that. Don't you do that. I'm not going to get in one of those. And then I just laughed, and I said, no, you got it all wrong, brother. I'm practicing on you. Then I'm going to go get me some good people. I had fun with them. But the thing about it is, when it comes to being a servant leader, we practice. It's these small things. Jesus said, if you're faithful in what is least, you'll be faithful in what is much. If we can do what is least, and that is, and I'm not a preacher, okay? So I'm I just, like I said, his principles have always made sense to me. But if we can go out and we can do the small things, showing kindness to people, doing things for people, volunteering in your community, whatever you do, if you get it in the habit of being good at cultivating leadership character, you're going to grow and you're going to go. It's going to continue. And it's going to be seen in your leaders. As he mentioned again, remember he says, what I need to tell you is that forming, transforming, and reforming character is difficult. Extremely difficult, but not impossible. So, in other words, the old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. If we practice it, it becomes a norm to us. And then when people join your organization, they're going to feel your demeanor. They're going to admire you. They're going to want to follow you. And they're going to want to develop leadership character. I'll give you this one illustration he mentions in the book. And when we talk about demeanor, just imagine, for those of you that are married, you'll be able to appreciate this, and maybe for those of you that are not, you'll appreciate this, but just imagine the husband, the wife makes a meal and all that, and, obviously she's tired, and, he can sense that. So what if he was to say to his wife, I'll help you wash those dishes, or I'll even do them for you. And he goes over there, but he complains the whole time he has to do it. The whole time he has to wash those dishes, he's complaining about, man, I'm tired too. I mean, I worked all day, and gosh, I have to come home, wash these dishes. How would the wife feel? Well, not too good. He took that job from her. She's glad of that. But now she'd just rather have it back. On the other hand, if he went to her and said, you know what, honey, I can appreciate you've worked hard today. Boy, you made such a great dinner. Boy, it'd be a real honor if I could wash these dishes. You just go relax. Let me do it, okay? I really like to do that. Now how does she feel? It's the same action, totally different feeling, because it's a totally different demeanor. My point is this, that when you serve others, we don't do it begrudgingly. We show that we want to do it. We show people that we are very interested in them. And in our leaders, we're interested in their future, their success. We're interested in them as an individual. And we want to see them be successful. They feel it. They feel it. That's the key. If they don't feel it, well, they're not buying you, my friend. And we haven't arrived at a point where really we can really say that we're growing in our leadership character. Well, maybe what we'll do is we'll touch on that again soon. And I want to stop right there because I try to keep these calls at 30 minutes. And what I'd like to do is pick it back up with you. However, next Monday I will be traveling with my wife to L.A. because she is going to go to Taiwan with the kids. So I possibly won't be able to make that next call, but for sure we'll do one again for sure the following Monday. I want to thank everyone for being on this call and calling in tonight. You know, this is going to be I don't know, the next few years are going to be incredible with For Life Research. And I really hope that you'll be able to be at the convention to see these new products that we'll have released at our next convention and get to know more about Dr. Chris Lockwood. Thank all of you for being on this call. Continue to cultivate that leadership character. Most important, remember, it's only 10% skills, 90% leadership, character, and that's what we have to do is put others first and become a servant leader. I'm going to turn the recording off, and then everybody can say goodbye. Thanks for making the call.